When we discuss anything in relation to South Africa in the present, there is one premise where you have to begin, always, which is that for the first time South Africa has a legitimate government. You must start there. Then you can discuss beyond that. Now, once you make the statement that it has a legitimate government, it imposes upon you, whether you're a citizen of the country or not, the obligation of treating that government in a particular way. South Africans have chosen their own governments now in 4 successive elections. 4 successive elections. And overwhelmingly, they have supported the governing party of the president. It wasn't done because they were stupid. It wasn't done because they were misled. It wasn't done because the election results were cooked. It wasn't done by trickery. People voted freely in democratic elections, internationally recognized as such. I'm sure you noticed also in your Dear Mandela movie, the young man Mazwi, down with the IFP, and the people respond, down. Down with the DA, and there was a positive response against down. Down with the ANC, silence. That indicates something to me. That indicates something, because whatever else Abahlali might feel, and the anger that they feel, is absolutely justified. It is angering, as Bob Marley said, to be hungry, to be homeless. It makes people angry. And I appreciate that, and I respect it. However, even with our anger, and when we are angry, you must always not overstate your case. When you overstate your case, you undermine it. At the end of that film, Abahlali won a constitutional court case. They won a constitutional court case. Now, you can't win a constitutional court case and then say things are getting worse. Because it means that an institution of state has actually come forward to protect you and to defend you as a citizen. That's what it means. It didn't used to happen before. It's happening now. So let us be careful about what our anger persuades us to say, and what our anger makes us overstate the case. Because, you see, at the end of the day, if you are going to say that that constitutional court case and its victory is meaningless, then, they wasted their time, frankly. But it's not meaningless. Second thing I want to say in relation to this is there is a general problem which confronts most developing countries today, and it confronts the rest of the world. We are in a state of economic decline generally. Recession, we see unprecedented levels of demonstration unrest in major European capitals almost every week. Not an accident. Now you have a developing country emerging from a situation and in a region which has experienced something like 30 years of regional war, because that's what the situation was in Southern Africa from about 1960 to 1990, regional war, in which there are huge challenges. A third world country in that situation, and it cannot meet all the demands of its people. That's just a plain fact. A hard fact, of course, no comfort to the person at the receiving end of you can't meet all your demands. No comfort to the person who doesn't have a job. No comfort to the person who cannot have a home. No comfort to someone who's forced to live in a shack to know that the rest of the world is in trouble. But it is nonetheless the reality. Now, how do you, as a governing party, address that issue? And those are the challenges. Now, there has just been a report on the census done last year, South Africa. And if you read the results of the census, they contradict what my good friend, the academic on the other side, is saying. He's saying things are getting worse. The census results indicate that the poor in South Africa are not getting poorer. It doesn't mean they are getting rich. It doesn't mean they're living in comfort, but they are not getting poorer. It means also, when you look at the census result, but one of the reasons why they're not getting poorer is because of government intervention. In the face of the fact that you have these huge backlogs as a result of colonialism and apartheid, huge problem of unemployment, now there are government grants to people who are unemployed, to those who are indigent, etc., etc., etc. And of course, it keeps the wolf from the door. It's not a solution. The solution is to get a job. The solution is to grow the economy such that people do get jobs. But in the face of the fact that the choice is starve to death or get a grant, which is better? Get a grant. At least it keeps the wolf from the door. Now that is an invention the government has made. You cannot say then that, this government doesn't care about the poor. Right? Now, all right, there are people who are authoritarian in every political organization, from the most democratic to the most authoritarian. So to quote to us that there are people who are saying terrible things and saying things that sound undemocratic, it means that there is discourse in the political party. Some people are authoritarian, some are not. It has been like that for the last 100 years. In the African National Congress, and I'm sure in every other political party in the world, that there are those with authoritarian tendencies and those who don't. And the question is, what happens in that political space? Is there engagement about those issues, or are people going along because they want to get along? That is the issue at the end of the day. Right. The other issue which I think we have to address quite seriously. You see, Abashali are saying there is no land and they have no houses. They are right, there is no land. But there is land actually. There is actually land in South Africa. It's just in the wrong hands. And why is it not being made available for projects like housing, etc., 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 etc.? Right now, in the Western Cape where I come from, there's been a case which was before the Land Claims Court for a number of years about an area of the city called District 6. It wasn't an African area. It was actually a colored area, people of mixed race, which was forcibly destroyed sometime during the late 1960s by the apartheid regime. And the people who had homes there, property there, have been fighting to reclaim that through the constitutional mechanisms available, Land Claims Court. They haven't been able to get back their land. There are communities, yes, okay. There are communities who were driven off their land during the apartheid years. Because of black spots, etc. They want their land back. When they want their land back, you find that it's in the hand of some landowner, usually white. And he says, you want the land? Okay, I'll charge you 2 million for 3 acres. No, but that's not the market price, but that's by asking price. And we agreed in the Constitutional Court, it's willing buyer, willing seller. Are you a willing buyer? Well, I'm a willing seller, and I'm selling at this exorbitant price. These are real issues which government has to address. Now, if you live in a dictatorship, you'll just say, oh, is that what you say? To hell with you, and you'll proceed and just take the land. But in a constitutional democracy, you can't do that. You have to go to the courts. You have to fight them in the courts, and they employ lawyers, you employ lawyers, and you fight it out, and you fight it out. It hasn't reached the Constitutional Court yet, but those are the sorts of challenges that face you as a democratic government. Has the African National Congress been able to deliver on every promise it has ever made? Has it been able to deliver a good life for every South African? Of course not. It hasn't. And no one pretends it has. The issue is it trying to do that, or is it not trying? And that is the question we have to answer. As far as I can judge, judging from empirical evidence rather than what I feel or thumbsucks, like the census, I would say that the lives of South Africans in the years since '94 have improved. Those, of course, who have more, their lives have improved markedly better than those who had nothing. Those who had something, markedly better. Those who were very poor, not very much. One big difference, whereas before 1994, if you were an indigent African, you were not going to get a nickel from any government institution. At least now you will get that money to keep the roof away from the door. That is an improvement, and for someone who is hungry, a real improvement. Thank you.